TDS is dry. Not a surprise considering when you always see these kinds of videos that consist of X tower in a game mode. But during this time, we have reached the peak of TDS drought. Not even the hunt event is saving this one, because that event isn't even interesting, abuses enemy spam like it's TDX, and immunities which make certain towers useless, which I find stupid. This isn't surprising because it's a Roblox event and the devs had 2 weeks to make it, so this new event didn't help keep TDS fresh. TDS has a decent amount of content, even if you exclude events. Special game modes like Pizza Party, Badlands 2, Polluted Wastelands 2, and Hardcore, provide different enemies and bosses for the player to defeat and conquer to obtain new towers and more coins. Golden Crates also keeps players playing the game and having something to look up to. It's likely the only reason why most players play the game today, even if it isn't even close to being worth 50k, and is arguably less valuable than Engineer, which costs 4.5k gems. You don't even need golden perks to beat the game or make it incredibly easy. Only the accelerator does that. With all of these features explored by the player, a few will try on challenges. It's either solo hardcore or a silly spawner only challenge. So how did TDS become so dry? Well, obviously it's because game modes like Hardcore and Fallen are hella outdated, and the majority of the ways you can beat modes like Fallen mode have already been explored. The most recent ones is a reskin that replaces enemies from Fallen mode. These modes made the game interesting for a bit and you'd only get hooked for a few hours till you're rewarded. Badlands 2 game mode didn't even replace a lot of enemies. It was literally Fallen mode but 3 times more enemies with a different wave 4D structure. Pizza Party has more unique enemies. Unique enemies as in, unique anywhere in TDS, but they don't have their own gimmicks except Balloon Kid and Commander. But Commander is kinda a circuit reskin and Balloon Kid just flies, but this also includes Mini Gunner. If you're wondering what gimmicky it means, something that is a feature or mechanic that makes it interesting. Pizza Party is what Fallen mode should have been, difficult, but still lacking gimmicky enemies like enemies from Polluted Wastelands 2. Speaking of Polluted Wastelands 2, this game mode is pretty cool at first. Amalgamation spawning every hit, Toxics leaving toxic pools that heals enemies, circuits, slimes spawning multiple goos on death, and reanimated respawning. These last two are pretty mid, but the point is that they have gimmicks which makes Polluted Wastelands 2 interesting. But my interest fade away after several games of Polluted Wastelands 2. These enemies aren't really executed well enough, because it reused Fallen mode's wave structure, which is very disappointing, making them a wasted potential. Some of these enemies may be lacking synergies. Additionally, the boss for Polluted Wastelands 2 was bland. Its difficulty is carried by RNG. The strategy for beating Polluted Wastelands 2 is incredibly simple. Too simple. It's literally just the same as other game modes like Fallen. At least one player farms, while the other defends, except they must have high-end towers cause haha power creep, making the overall experience of the game mode boring, easily losing replay value on all of these game modes. I've played on these game modes a lot of times, except Lost Souls, since that's incredibly boring due to the limiting loadout, with almost every possible, practical combination, which made me try on silly combinations to feed my boredom. Even then, all of them have been slowly explored and still boring. Some of you may ask,
why not try making strategies?
Most strategies nowadays are already optimal for the average player, so there's no need to make new ones. There's also no reason to make a strategic document for a silly loadout that's worse than the best one. Or for a challenge. It's a challenge for a reason. Unless there's a new event, game mode, or somehow changed the grinding meta.
Try making challenges.
Most challenges have already been done. Solo hardcore, beating a game mode in an incredibly hard map in solo. The only challenge that's left is Black Spot Exchange and Infernal Abyss Hardcore, which is added recently. That's something at least. Speed runs are already close to perfect time with the most optimal loadout, likely already found, so there isn't much to make things faster. And when there is, it's just a few seconds, which isn't amazing for a casual player. Most of TDS content is already consumed at this point throughout the years. Updates couldn't keep up with the drought, and would only make the game interesting for a few days or even hours. Players make their challenges out of curiosity and fun are getting limited. So yeah, that's what's been making TDS dry. its content couldn't keep up with its lifespan basically. I doubt Molten Reworked would make it interesting for a month at least. But it may be enough for Fallen Rework, which could be interesting if done right. I'm still hopeful that there is a chance Molten Rework will significantly fix this issue. Good thing TDS is slowly addressing this problem, and hopefully they can keep up with the drought by adding more fun content instead of simple skins. Sometimes the simplest feature that changes gameplay can be huge for us, like Infernal Abyss and Black Spot Exchange in hardcore, or game modifiers like multiplying HP for the casuals. That's all for today. I was struggling to make something different and interesting today, lol, so I made a video on TDS being dry while I wait for some random interesting idea to suddenly appear in my head, or have motivation to continue other vids. I should continue my series. And as always, like if you like the video, dislike if you don't, subscribe if you want more videos like this, and comment down if you either still find TDS fun or not. I think this one is obvious. Thanks for watching.